Hello, and welcome to the B.A.S S, Big and Small Screens. Today, I'd like to talk to you about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Went and saw this in theaters just over the weekend here, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. If any of you have seen the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and you have enjoyed it, and you haven't seen the second one, I highly recommend you do, because it's a lot more of the same. It's very much kind of tongue-in-cheek, crazy, comedic humor, sci-fi, epic romp. Seem to be having a bit of a pattern going between You Should Be Reading yesterday and this one today, but it is very, very cool. One thing I did note about the movie that I found kind of fascinating, it didn't occur to me until afterwards, but the movie itself, while the Guardians of the Galaxy do end up saving the galaxy from certain destruction again. Uh, it didn't feel like that big of a. It didn't feel like the stakes were that big in this movie. They absolutely were, but it didn't feel like it. Not like the first one where you had Ronan the Accuser, the Infinity Stone, and basically the entire Kree fleet, a big battle royal in space and whatnot. Um, all of that it was very big, very grand, very epic. This movie, the sequel, seemed to pull back a little bit and almost be kind of, even though the fate of the galaxy was at stake, it was a much more smaller movie. It was still, of course, out all in space, all kinds of bad, cool things happening, and stuff going kaboom and whatnot, lots of humor and all that. But it felt very small. It felt very intimate. Because of the fact that a lot of it was focused on the character arcs of the various characters. It was a very character-driven piece, not so much a grand story piece like the first one kind of was. Uh, we deal with Peter and his whole hang up with his mother dying and never knowing his father. Um, Gamora and Peter's love interest going on there and how they're kind of not quite there yet. Even with Drax, there's a little bit of a character arc with him where he is very much. Um, he seems to be very much kind of like the weird uncle of their little family. uh, God love Batista. The man is amazing as an actor. It's hilarious. Um, Rocket Raccoon is very cool. He has an arc similar and kind of connected with Yondu, who's back in this one. James Rooker, I think his name is. Um, the actor's name. Those two have a very interesting interconnected character arc between their perspective stories and how they all come to pay off. Um, as well as Groot kind of doesn't. He's just cute little mascot thing, but there's some interesting things going on there with Groot. Peter's father is played by Kurt Russell as the living god planet Ego. Uh, kind of interesting there, as well as uh, even like some of the minor characters that are kicking around. Yondu's second in command, and the uh, the head of the Sovereign, the golden skinned lady who very wants the Guardians of the Galaxy dead because of what happens immediately in the first one. The entire crux of this movie is basically follows not just the fact that uh, Peter's father, Ego, finds him and what happens there, but the fact that the they're helping out the Sovereign in the very first scene, and Rocket ends up stealing some batteries from them that he doesn't need, uh, and that pisses off the Sovereign, who then are like, "We're gonna kill them," and that's a bit of an impetus that drives the action from there. Uh, just that, just a simple little thing like that, and it's amazing how the movie seems. It's got that still epic feel of the first movie, but doesn't in the same way, and I kind of like it. One of the really interesting bits that ends up happening is with a couple of the cameos. We see Ben Browder from Farscape fame. He is in there as a second in command to the Queen of the Sovereign, uh, looking all cool with his sharp suit and his gold skin, uh, kind of like that. Seeing what's his face, Sylvester Stallone as a cameo out of nowhere as like one of the Ravagers that Yondu looks up to. I wasn't expecting him at all. I had no idea he was in it. And David Hasselhoff, as David Hasselhoff, is in this movie. I shit you not. David Hasselhoff is in this movie technically as himself. Go figure. Go figure. It's one of those weird movies. Stan Lee, of course, has his obligatory cameo in this one. A little bit bigger than the other Guardians movie, perhaps, but still very cool. See Howard the Duck again in this one, which really makes me want a Howard the Duck movie now because I liked the original. Um, so I kind of like to see a Howard the Duck movie, but I don't think they're gonna do it regardless. Um, the only other thing to really talk about without spoiling the movie, because I don't want to spoil the movie, um, is a couple of the uh, teasers at the end of the movie in the credits. Two in particular I want to talk about. One of which is of no consequence. You just see the fact that Groot, um, later on in the teasers, is grown up a bit more and seems to be in the teenage years, uh, playing a video game in his room while Star-Lord, Peter Quill, is acting like a dad and being all, why don't you clean up your room? I'm tripping over your vines everywhere. You're just playing that stupid game. He's like, and now I feel like Yondu feels. It's it's an amusing little scene, and I like it, which gives me some interesting hope for the third Guardians movie and what Groot's going to be like there, because he's very snarky. I enjoyed that. Um, Mantis was also in this one, the empathic lady, and Nebula as well. Nebula and Gamora have a bit of a story arc I forgot to mention between the sisters. They kind of make up a little bit. Uh, so I'm kind of interested in that. I really like Karen Gillan as an actress. So seeing her in this as Nebula, uh, all badass and stuff, I'm all for that. But the other teaser trailer, the one that makes me kind of curious, that may have an import later on, is the fact that the Sovereign have created a new birthing pod, the Queen of the Sovereign. Uh, and this particular birthing pod is going to birth something that will destroy the Guardians of the Galaxy, is what she says. And she's going to call this new creation Adam. And I have a feeling, I'm not 100% sure, but I have a feeling that Adam might be um, Adam Warlock. Possibly. I don't know. I haven't looked up any rumors on the internet or anything, but I remember hearing about Adam Warlock being connected to the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics and being from an alien race. Um, so, I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it though. So, that's it for this episode of The Base. As always, thank you all so much for watching. If you like what I'm doing, please give that like button a tap. Give that subscribe button a tap as well if you haven't already, so you can be kept apprised of when I do new videos. And throw a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. What are your hopes and dreams for the future of Marvel? Let's get a discussion going in that comment section. So do all that, and check out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You might like it. And I'll see you next time.